Pumas squad for the July fixtures in 2024, folks, has been named by new Argentinian head coach Felipe Contepomi. They've got games up against France and Uruguay coming up in July. There are certainly some big name players who've missed out of the squad and some guys who have been rested. We'll go through the squad and you guys can let us know your thoughts. But yeah, 2 games at home against the French, Mendoza and Buenos Aires for the first 2, and then an away game to be played over in Uruguay. So, yeah, going to be an interesting one because the French squad, from what we've seen thus far, is a pretty young squad. And Contepomi is also seemingly moving past some of those kind of key veterans who, you know, the 100-cap guys and whatnot who've been with Argentina for the last few years, the likes of Kubeli, Sanchez, Crevi, Cordella, Imhoff. All these guys, I believe, thus far have not been considered. Whether they make a return at some point kind of remains to be seen, but certainly for the July fixtures, they are looking to go a bit younger. And Facundo Isa has decided to take a break from international rugby for a year. There are also a few guys being rested. Some of them are playing pretty long campaigns over in the top 14 and whatnot. The likes of Guido Petti, Thomas Lavanini, Juan Martin Gonzalez, Joe Sclavi, and Juan Cruz Malia. All kind of not considered for July just because of the hectic schedule they've been facing. And even Chocobares, who was initially named, has been pulled out with his side making the top 14 final. So, yeah, that's a huge chunk of kind of key name Argentinian players who will not be playing. And there's also a few injuries with Boffelli having some back pain, and Tetes Chaparro also being injured. I forgot to mention Cinti is also another guy being rested. So, yeah, who is left of all of these players? Well, the core of the kind of squad is still there, and there are some new faces, at least kind of half a dozen or so uncapped players. 3 hookers in Bernasconi, Montoya, and Ruiz. Montoya is the captain of Argentina, and I believe he will remain so under new coach Contepomi. He's been a regular for Argentina over the last few years. He's been a regular for Leicester Tigers. I rate him as one of the best hookers in the world, so pleasing to see him continue. But below him, there's not a heck of a lot of experience with Ruiz. 23-year-old, 7 caps, and then the uncapped Bernasconi, who's been playing his rugby in Italy, mainly as the reserve hooker for Benetton, uncapped. So, yeah, beyond Montoya, there's not a lot of depth from the guys who've been picked. Props-wise, Bejo, Calles, Gajo, Marchetti, Sordoni, and Vivas. Uncapped guy in Marchetti, who's been playing for Brive over in France, also as kind of the reserve tight head there. But Cordella as that mainstay of the front row, the tight head for Argentina is gonna be a big mess, man. Because I mean, Cordella didn't bring a heck of a lot around the park, if I'm honest, but he could scrummage the house down. So yeah, they're gonna want someone to kind of fill that role. Bejo, the 28-year-old guy playing for Newcastle, maybe gets that starting spot. Sordoni also as well. Been playing for Glasgow, missed the URC final with injury, but certainly part of a successful campaign. And then everyone knows all about Thomas Gajo on the loose head side. Certainly one of the more kind of devastating ball carriers in terms of loose head props, and has been improving with his scrummaging as well, kind of his core role. Locks, so without Petty and without Lavanini, they are looking a little bit thin. You've got Alemano, who was there, who's been playing for Gloucester. I believe he spent part of the season injured as well. But he's certainly the veteran guy at 32. Then you got Lucas Paulos, who's kind of been there or thereabouts for Argentina in the past. He's amassed 12 caps, but with the guys like Petty and Lavanini, and then sometimes Crema kind of taking those second row spots, it's been harder to get game time for him. He's 26, been playing for Bayonne. And then you've got Rubiolo as well, who I don't think has had a heck of a lot of game time, kind of filling in that lock loose forward as well. And then a potential debutant, Molina, who I don't know anything about other than that he's been playing rugby over in South America. And he's just nigh on 2 meters tall. So not a massive bit of timber, but certainly tall enough to lock the scrum for Argentina. Loose forwards, it's pleasing to see Pablo Matera there, because remember, he missed some games in the World Cup with injury. He's only a couple of games shy of 100 caps as well. Marcos Crema, the big unit, he's there. He's only 26 years old. Feels like he's been around forever. Oviedo was there. And then the uncapped guys in De Armim, who's played for the Argentinian 15 before as a flanker. Moro, who's also playing his rugby over in South America, the number 8. And then Piedmont, the guy who plays over in the D2 in France, has apparently got himself 9 tries in the D2 this year. So maybe a guy to watch out for if he gets a game either on the flank or at number 8. So yeah, there's certainly how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 uncapped guys in the squad. But with the likes of Matera, with the likes of Alemano, and with the likes of Montoya there, you've certainly got experienced guys in the kind of front row, second row, back row for Argentina. Average age of the forwards is 26. So older than some of the squads, like maybe the French and Italians, but certainly younger than the likes of the Irish and the South Africans. I think even slightly younger than the All Blacks squad in terms of just kind of pure age. Backs-wise, 3 halfbacks in the Royal Cap, Bazan Valles, Bertrano, and Garcia. All these guys have been getting, I think, a decent amount of game time. I know Bertrano had a face injury when he got smashed over in South Africa in the URC, like broke his cheekbone or something. So he's back. He's the veteran of the guys at 30. 10 will be an interesting one because you got Albornoz, who's been playing pretty well for Benetton. They had a pretty decent campaign in the URC, made the quarterfinals before narrowly getting eliminated by the Bulls. And then you got Carreras, who's been playing for Gloucester, who didn't have their best year. And he's been largely playing fullback for Gloucester, but he is kind of the incumbent at 10 for Argentina. Midfielders, with the withdrawal of Chocobares, it means they've brought in this guy Picardo, who is playing over in Super Rugby Americas, plays 12. I haven't seen anything of him, sadly, having not seen that competition, but any insights into him, let me know. He's 22, and he's surrounded by the veterans, because you got De La Fuente, who's been playing in Perpignan, also playing 12, playing a lot of game time this year. He's 33 years old. Moroni is playing at Newcastle. He's 33 years old. And then Orlando has been playing in the MLR, 32 years old. So there's a 10-year gap between the youngster who will get his debut if gets game time and the kind of 3 other picked midfielders. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting area for Argentina. But I mean, obviously, Cinti and Chocobares will be there in other times, but just for this campaign, the midfield is looking experienced, to put it that way. Outside backs, you got Mateo Carreras, Cordero, that's Santiago Cordero, Batista Del Rey, and Mendy Bogado, and this new guy, Mateo Soler. He's also been playing his rugby over in South America, 21 years old, plays fullback. He'll be getting his debut if he gets a game. Batista Del Rey, I haven't seen him play for Argentina for a long time. There was a while when he was a key part of like a back 3 with Del Rey on one wing, Boffelli on one wing, and who was the other guy? Really fleet-footed guy. His name escapes me at the moment, but he was a key part of a really exciting Argentinian back 3, but he's missed out for a few years now, I believe. But I looked up his numbers for Clermont, and he's got 11 tries from 18 top 14 appearances. So seems like a pretty good reward for him. He's still 27, so kind of at the peak of his powers. Santiago Cordero has pretty limited game time for Connacht. Martin Bogado played in the Super Rugby campaign for the Landers. Only got a few games on the wing at the kind of end of the season. So a few guys maybe without a bit of game time. Mateo Carreras had a great season for Newcastle a few years ago, but he's over in France now. I'm not sure if he's been able to kind of replicate that same try-scoring run that he's been on, but we know what he can do as well. Average age of the backs is slightly older at 27, but as I said, the midfielders in particular, I think, drag the age up a little bit. And compared to the forwards, there's only 2 guys who'll be getting their first cap for Argentina in the back line. Some of the guys who missed out, I mean, Sebastian Cancellieri has been playing really well for Glasgow. He is 30, so maybe they're not looking to bring in a guy who might not make the next World Cup. You know, outside backs tend to lose a bit of gas earlier, and unlike props, maybe don't come into the peak of their powers in their 30s. So that's kind of an unfortunate one because he has been in really good form. Frankie Gorison over in the D2 has been playing the house down on the flank, so maybe he can feel a little bit hard done by. But yeah, it is a lot of guys being rested for the Rugby Championship. Remember, Argentina, kind of like South Africa, with that Southern Hemisphere schedule, and then playing their rugby in the Northern Hemisphere means they don't get a heck of a lot of breaks, so it makes sense to rest some of the veterans. Medrano is one of the guys who's missed out playing his rugby over in the Force. He is on a genuine Southern Hemisphere schedule, but has been a little bit of a penalty magnet at times. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see how they go. 2 matches against France, a young French side at home, and the match against Uruguay. You would expect that they want to win definitely the away match in Uruguay, but that'll be a bit of a grudge match given the geographic kind of rivalry between the sides and potentially being the number 1 and number 2 sides in South America. And then France, what are the expectations? You need to get at least 1 win. And given how young the French side is, maybe 2. But as I said, the Argentinian side is missing a lot of big guns as well. So a little bit of pressure on for Coach Contepomi as he starts his run with Argentina. But we'll see how he goes. You guys let us know your thoughts on the Argentinian squad. If you want some more insights, check out the America's Rugby News. They write a lot of insightful stuff as a helicopter flies over my house about rugby in the Americas. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.